And my mic was muted, so we totally missed that. Good morning. Wednesday, September 24th, 2025. How you doing? It's hump day, and we're hip thrusting our way into week 4 of the 2025 NFL season. Welcome back to the Hat and Beard Show, or, welcome if you're new here. I'm Hat and Beard. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. That's what we love about you. Guys, today we have some talking points around the NFL, some things to discuss before we dive into our Detroit Lions news. Oh, hey, look at that. First and foremost, oh boy, would you look at that. Google to reinstate banned YouTube account censored for political speech. Why is this relevant? Well, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you go into the way back end catalog of the Hat and Beard Show, you'll see that your boy, was heavily influenced by Steven Crowder. Matt Walsh was trying to do the little political thing himself during the COVID-19 pandemic nonsense, and a very small part of me thinks that because of the content that I was providing, the things that I was saying, although it be it small, and a lot of it now removed from YouTube for things that I said, we kind of feel that we might have been put into that little box where our growth was incredibly limited. So I myself am incredibly excited. Not only are we steamrolling closer to 750 subscribers, getting ever so close to that elusive monetization here on YouTube, where YouTube will be more inclined to push me out, because I think we can make them a couple $1 dues while we make a little profit of our own. But I really do think that our growth has been limited, and I'm excited to see how much we grow now that the reins might be released a little bit. We shall see. But I just pointed that out. I was reading that up this morning. Pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting stuff there. But to lead the news off today, guys, in the national news circuit, not a positive thing. It's always sad. We don't like to, but it feels like we talk about death on this channel quite regularly. I do like to talk about players, former players when they pass, especially former players when they pass that I personally was a big fan of. I know there's not a lot in Cincinnati to really root for, but there was an era, it was the Cincinnati Bengals, that as a young man was entertaining for me to watch back when Carson Palmer was there, and you had guys like Chad Ochocinco. And the Bengals single-season all-time rushing record holder, Rudi Johnson. I can't tell you how many times I turned this guy into a Hall of Fame caliber running back in Madden. He possessed all of the traits that I, as an individual, like to have in a running back. But breaking news from Yahoo Sports, former Bengals star running back Rudi Johnson dies at 45. Police say all indications are leading to self-deletion in the death of the Bengals great. So we will read this story and pay a little bit of tribute to Rudi Johnson, somebody that we weren't necessarily opposed to here at the Hat and Beard Show, someone that I kind of found myself rooting for. He found himself on my fantasy team more than one season as a young man. Other breaking news, a little bit more of a uplifting note. If any of you guys watched the Kansas City Chiefs game this last weekend against the Big Blue New York G-Men, you've seen a awful display of quarterbacking from Russell Wilson, one-time great of the league, one time heralded as one of the best deep ball passers in the NFL. But Russell Wilson looking like ass, straight ass, against the Kansas City Chiefs. And with the Chiefs in town cooking, Brian Daboll's seat got even hotter this past weekend. It's very evident that he is one of the guys who's probably going to be out of a job. Even if you're able to turn around, if you don't make a playoff appearance, I don't think there's much hope for Brian Daboll's position there. But Jaxson Dart, Giants rookie, Jaxson, fan of Charlie Kirk, Dart to start at QB over Russell Wilson for Week 4 game versus the Chargers. Talk about getting thrown into the deep end. But talk about a story if you're able to pull out the win against the Chargers. So we'll take a little look at what Jaxson Dart has going on, what kind of nonsense is popping off over in the Big Apple. And then we're going to go ahead. While we're in the Big Apple, we're going to take a little splash down in the harbor of Schadenfreude. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Everybody was so hurt in their butt when the Lions did not re-sign C.J., the guy who spent 1 year here in Detroit, was injured for the majority of the season, and the very small exposure and time he was on the field for the Lions was ineffective at best. and irrelevant at worst. So that being said, now he's bounced from 2 teams in the past couple of years, first going back to Philly before being traded this offseason to the Houston Texans. But now Texans cut veteran DB C.J. G.J. in surprise release after 3 games. Now the Texans admittedly are a franchise in turmoil's putting it lightly. They are a bit of a dumpster fire right now. So is this a crazy maneuver, or is C.J. G.J. just not really who he once was or ever really was? I think it's more the latter than the former, but there does need to be the asterisk that Houston is a crazy franchise. We will poke around at the top 10 quarterbacks, according to CBS Sports. Week 4 NFL quarterback power rankings. Lions, Jared Goff cruises into the top 5. We're not going to care about Jaxson Dart. We're looking at the top 10 because there's our boy. My boy. JG16 looking good against Baltimore on Monday night. And we're going to get into a little hometown coney sauce cooking. Heading over to Detroit Lions on SI. Lions offensive tackle earns near perfect PFF grade against Baltimore. That's right. Who else? Who else but the future Hall of Famer Penei Sewell has extraordinary performance against the Ravens. We will look around at all of the top and bottom end performing PFF graded out players for your Detroit Lions. While we're done reading that, it will kind of segue beautifully into this. Dan Campbell hints at changes in cornerback usage amidst Terrion Arnold struggles. It looks like the Detroit Lions could be making changes at cornerback after some early struggles from Terrion Arnold. Now, I'm not opposed to it. It's not the trajectory of the career that you want to see the man go on, let alone the trajectory of his sophomore season that I was myself. And I will stand here in my driveway in my yard by my mailbox with egg on my face. With egg. I hyped up Terrion Arnold really, really well. I was expecting a huge step forward this year, and oh boy, howdy, did you take a massive backflip back, buddy. You're looking like a rookie, TA. I'm not a small enough man, I'll admit it. I know what's going on there. You're playing like dog shit. Maybe it's time to shut her down for a little bit. Maybe fix what's going on. Make sure we get back to fundamentals, let the veterans kind of do their thing. That is kind of why we brought in guys like Rocky Yacine. Let's not forget Amik Robertson is a very viable asset to have in the defensive backfield. But TA is struggling, so we'll see what Dan Campbell might have alluded to or what we could be looking at for the secondary of the Lions heading into Browns week and then Bengals week. A couple games where we kind of get a little bit right. Now, I'm not excited about struggling TA going up against a very, very, very wealthy Jamar Chase, but we shall see. And then why would we give any credence to what Dan Campbell's doing? Well, you guys here in the Motor City, we know how effective Dan Campbell has been in his tenure as the Detroit Lions head coach. I glaze him constantly talking about the revolutionary, not only coaching approach to how they handle themselves in the locker room and on the practice field, but also the game planning that goes into it. Dan Campbell, 32% of the time, is going to go for it on 4th down. Dan Campbell, proving to be a successful coach in the NFL. That's why we had both of our coordinators and 6 assistants taken from us to go to other teams, as well as now you're seeing teams trying to go for it on 4th down, playing around the trick plays, and every single time you see it, it is nothing more than a poor knockoff version of the Detroit Lions, a made-in-Taiwan version of the Detroit Lions. So Lions coach Dan Campbell is finally getting the credit he deserves. NFL analysts are finally giving Detroit Lions coach Dan Campbell the praise he has long deserved. Come to us from prideofdetroit.com. Jeremy Reisman will be giving us a little bit of information. And then if we got time, I don't really feel like doing another hour-and-a-half long show today, but if we got time, we will take a look at Tom Grossi's every NFL fan's reaction to Week 3. Guys, now that we've gone through all of your headline news, let's go ahead and take a look over at the poll. There's a poll I'd like you guys to engage in. 1 like equals USA. 12 votes, 100% of you, that's what we like to see, 100% of you say USA, baby, and 0% of you are admitting to being a commie. We don't like commies around here. We don't like commies, and we like titties over Twinkies. How we doing, everybody down in the chat? Good morning, you Mad Hatter Nation. Brent DeWitt, I'm Chasing Chase. What's up, Mom? How you doing? Beantown Breakdown. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, dude. Hoping that your Patriots can kind of turn it around, dude. I'm rooting for Mike Vrabel. It's not looking so smooth out there. Gary Simtich, how you doing, brother? Good morning, my guy. Jack 2125. Notice this was the same time that Google said sorry for manipulating info before the election since Google owned YouTube. Isn't that crazy how that all works, Jack? You got your finger on the pulse, too. I see you're hearing the same things I'm hearing and getting the same vibes. So isn't it weird? Isn't it weird how this is all just kind of being proven? You're a commie! Oh, Derek, you're a commie. Ew, gross. That's not cool, man. That's weird. You can vote your way into communism, but you got to shoot your way out. Beantown Breakdown says, Bengals back to the shadow realm. Exactly, dude. They're a franchise that we consistently say is totally okay with mediocrity. Guy in a MAGA hat attacked an ICE facility. We all know. Yeah, 100%. I remember Lions fans were butthurt when we traded for that guy. Exactly, dude. We were really butthurt when we traded C.J. G.J. away. T.A. did have a pretty decent second half, Jeff. You're not wrong. But I need more out of him. Jeff Ginnard, good morning. How you doing, brother? And Sam Armstrong, what's up, brother? How you doing? Good to see y'all here, Mad Hatter Nation. Guys, if you haven't already, would you kindly walk on over to that subscribe button? Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here at youtube.com/Hat and Beard Show, the number one largest, fastest-growing Detroit Lions NFL content creation station, broadcasting from Grandma's Studio 1 in the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. block. And don't forget, we do pre-game shows for every Lions game. We try to go live as often as we can, placing a little bet. So keep the notification bell turned on so you know when we can go live. You can hang out with the rest of the Mad Hatter Nation down here. While you're here, do us a big thing. Build those quads. Build those shoulders. Got to do some heavy lifting and shoulder pressing for me. Go on over to that share button. Copy that link down on your clipboard. Go ahead and do that 5 or 6 times if you don't feel like sharing this around with all your friends. But if you're so inclined and want to admit that you are a fan of the Hat and Beard Show, props to you. I appreciate that. Go ahead and share this around on all your social medias. Tell your friends. You never know. Somebody might like what we do here. Now that's all the way, guys. I really appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in, telling a friend that's what we love about you. Let's get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
All right, guys. Sad news coming to us from former Cincinnati Bengals great Rudi Johnson, former Cincinnati Bengals Pro Bowl running back Rudi Johnson died Tuesday. He was 45 years old. The Bengals confirmed Johnson's death, though did not provide details. We are deeply saddened by the passing of Rudi Johnson. Rudi was a fine person and an excellent running back for us. He was dependable and productive as a player and was very popular among his teammates. Everyone liked him and saw him as a dear friend. We are deeply saddened by his passing. This coming from President Mike Brown. In the statement, Team President Mike Brown called Johnson a fine person and a dear friend. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office told NBC News it's investigating Johnson's death, with Detective Joseph Pergiro saying, quote, all indications are leading to suicide. No foul play is suspected. And when I said that word, YouTube immediately hit the nuke button on this stream. Look at us go. Johnson's agent, Peter Schaefer, reportedly told NBC News he hopes Johnson's death will spur more research into CTE, a degenerative disease that has been a factor in several NFL self-deletions. Because CTE can only be diagnosed in an autopsy, it is not confirmed if Johnson had it. Rudi Johnson holds Bengals single-season rushing record. Johnson, a fourth-round selection by the Bengals in the 2001 NFL Draft, mostly sat on the bench his first 2 seasons in the league. Injuries to starter. Remember Corey Dillon? Corey Dillon pushed Johnson into more work in his 3rd season. He delivered. Johnson rushed for 957 yards and scored 9 touchdowns in just 215 attempts in 2003. Dillon was traded in the offseason, paving the way for Johnson to start in 2004. He went on to deliver 3 straight fantastic seasons. From 2004 to 2006, Johnson averaged, holy shit, from 2004 to 2006, Rudi Johnson averaged 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns. Yes, please. That's something you can build your offense around right there. He made his first and only Pro Bowl in 2004. That season, Johnson rushed for 1,400 yards, a franchise record. He broke that record the following season, rushing for 1,458 yards, 4 more yards than the last season. That record still stands. That's a hell of a record. That's a 20-year-old record, my friend. The Bengals reached the playoffs that season, but fell to Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round. Johnson scored a touchdown in the loss. Injuries took a toll on Johnson in 2007, limiting him to 11 games. He struggled when healthy, gaining 497 yards on 170 attempts. Johnson was cut by the Bengals in training camp the next season. He's picked up by the Detroit Lions, where he received 76 rushing attempts in his final season in the NFL. Johnson appeared at Paul Brown Stadium in 2016 as part of the team's Legends Weekend. He said it was the first time he returned to the team following his 2008 release. Johnson's teammate, receiver Chad Johnson, paid tribute to the running back on X on Tuesday. Rip Rudi Johnson. The pair overlapped in Cincinnati throughout Rudi's tenure with the franchise. Both Rudi and Chad joined the Bengals as part of the same draft, with the team taking Chad in the second round in 2001. So that's just sad, dude. And let's be honest, Occam's razor would indicate that the whatever answer with the fewest amount of variables or something like that, whatever is basically the simplest solution is generally the easiest solution. Rudi Johnson was a physical running back, a guy that wasn't necessarily afraid of a hit, and especially back in the day. You know, the protection around the helmet, the advancements in technology, the acknowledgement of CTE to begin with, concussion protocol, wasn't really that prevalent. You know, I grew up in the era when it was just getting your bell rang. You know what I mean? And Rudi Johnson took a few licks here or there, put a lot of wear and tear on the old cranium, and if it's looking like self-deletion, then 9 times out of 10 in this situation, it's probably going to end up being CTE. Does the league need to do something about that? That's not really my place to say. Do the players need to, I don't know, be better equipped post-career? You know, I don't really know how to handle this. I'm not a dentist. I can't really answer these things. It's just an interesting thing, and it's a sad situation. You know, it seems to be more and more and more. Thankfully, I guess the silver lining is that he didn't do anything really heinous or fucked up prior to, because we have seen situations where that is the what happens is their brains get scrambled and they start acting out and up to really horrific ways. You know what I mean? So at least there is that silver lining. You hate to see it. It's unfortunate. Something that will be more and more prevalent, I think we'll see, as we start to see where the caliber of athlete wasn't quite to the level of protection. I'm talking Antonio Brown. I'm obviously Rudi Johnson. Junior Seau played for a long, long time. Kellen Winslow Jr., piece of shit. Even guys maybe like Darren Sharper, that piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? I just think that now maybe we'll see a reduction, not only is there protections around the players, but the evolution and advancements in helmet technology goes a long way in protecting players. We have seen a decrease in concussions throughout the NFL over the past couple seasons. Yeah, the helmets look kind of goofy, but I think we're starting to see protections catch up to the caliber of athlete. I think for a while there you were seeing just these insanely juiced up, jacked, hyper world athletes playing with little bits of plastic around their head, and we were still letting guys fly around and crack skulls. I'm not necessarily opposed to the cracking skulls. Me, myself, I like big hits. But at a certain point, I guess you do need to start weighing the pros and cons, the benefits, and the detriments to the situation. When guys are deleting themselves at 45 years old, it's just not a good thing. Maybe there's more going on in the backfield or in the background. We don't know. Good morning, Brandy. How you doing, you guys? People need Jesus, period. Deletion takes you straight to hell, if we're honest. Need God in schools. Preach, Mr. Detroit City. Preach, my guy. All right, over here, a little bit more of an uplifting note. Change at the helm. Not the head coach yet down in Big Blue, but we are seeing a change at the quarterback spot. Giants rookie Jaxson Dart to start over QB Russell Wilson for Week 4 game versus the Chargers. The 3-0 Chargers, the running away with the AFC West Chargers in New York Minute. Russell Wilson's out, and Jaxson Dart's time is now. The time has come. It is Jaxson Dart's time. Jaxson Dart will start at quarterback in New York Giants Week 4 game against the visiting Los Angeles Chargers. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport and Mark Garofalo reported on Tuesday. Following a dreadful offensive showing of the 22-9 loss on Sunday night to the Chefs, Wilson is 3 and out in Gotham. Clever girl. 3 games is, Dart, taken 25th overall in the 2025 draft after New York traded back into the first round, had an impressive preseason. That had many wondering just how long it would be before he took the field in the regular season. Turns out, it's 3 weeks, the 6th way mark through the season. You're in, rookie. Welcome to the NFL. With Wilson struggling in the 2 of 3 games and New York off to an 0-3 start for the first time since Dable took over as head coach in 2022, where he proceeded to win Coach of the Year, winning 9 games that year and not amassing only being able to amass 9 total wins from there on out. 3 games is a quick hook. All things considered, Big Blue fans were chanting for Dart as the first half ended on Sunday. The offense generated just 281 yards of offense against the Chefs, with Wilson completing 18 of 32 passes for 160 yards. Well, if you don't throw the ball vertically, you're not going to be very productive. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 43% passer rating. In a Week 1 loss to the Washington Commies, he was 17 of 37, mustering 168 passing yards, no tugs, no INTs, and a 60% passer rating as he piloted a rudderless New York offense to 231 net yards. In between, he threw for a career-high 450 yards in a 40-37 loss to the Dallas Cowgirls, but that Giants' performance and output seems like an aberration after 3 weeks of the unlimited experience under center. After signing with the Giants this offseason, Wilson was anointed as the starter by Dable to begin the season. However, after Sunday's loss, Dable was non-committal to sticking with Wilson, just as he was 2 weeks prior. You guys have asked me about guys after games. I'm not going to answer that, Dable said Sunday when asked if Wilson would be the starter for Week 4. On Monday, Dable told reporters he was, quote, evaluating everything. Where Wilson, 36, goes from here is a massive question. The 10-time Pro Bowl, that's what I'm saying. He was good. He was really good. He was one of the top quarterbacks for a long time. Is with his 3rd team in 3 years. This is the 2nd time he's been benched, the first coming at the end of his 2-season run with the Denver Broncos in 2023. A first for Wilson now lies ahead. He'll be the veteran in a room perhaps looked upon to steward the development of Dart. No matter the timing this year, Dart's been the future of the franchise regardless of his spot on the depth chart. The future is now the present. The Old Miss product had 4,200 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions as a college senior. This summer, Dart had a touchdown pass in each of his 3 preseason games, kindling hope for disgruntled Big Blue rooters. He possesses flat feet, a strong arm, and a shiny glow of a first-rounder who appeals to a fan base, and a coach in Dable who has just 9 combined wins over the past 2+ years. Dable has had 6 quarterbacks start for him since he was hired. Daniel, now Indiana Jones, had the majority of those starts, and Wilson had the last. Next up is Dart, who holds the distinction of truly being Dable's first QB of choice. He inherited Jones and did his best with veteran backups, stopgaps such as Tyrod Taylor, Drew Lock, and Wilson, along with cult favorite Tommy DeVito, baby! In a pivotal season for Dable and the franchise, the choice has been made to make the franchise QB of tomorrow the QB of today. I think that bodes well for Big Blue. I don't think don't expect a whole lot out of Jaxson Dart this season. Is Jaxson Dart going to right the ship and propel Big Blue to the top of the NFC, the cream of the crop, get yourself a 1 seed, win the East, first round bye, and march your way all the way to the Super Bowl? I don't think that is going to happen. But you have nothing to lose. If he doesn't play well, you can always sit him again. If you're losing, you're losing. Now, if Jaxson Dart comes in and shows steps forward, 1 step forward and only 1 step back, but 2 steps forward and 1 step back would be beneficial. But it's time to get your young core of players experience playing together. The sooner you can get Malik Neighbors and Jaxson Dart together on the same page and really understanding one another's small, intricate things that they do in game, the sooner you can make that lethal connection develop, the faster you can become a connection that can be relied upon. I do think that Scatabo is an interesting prospect at running back, although productive, not probably going to be your running back of the future. Wan'Dale Robinson is an interesting weapon. Big Blue's big problem is they have a terrible offensive line and have for many, many years now. And also their defense, not so great, not so good. Kayvon Thibodeau not really turning out to be what he was. Looks like they maybe spent a little too much money on the investment into Brian Burns or just can't quite figure out how to use him properly. All that to be said, the sooner you can get Jaxson Dart exposure, the sooner you can get Jaxson Dart moving forward in his development, the absolute better, especially in the situation where Brian Daboll's seat is very, very warm under his shtukas. You know what I'm saying? He needs to figure out some way, some avenue, some piece of leverage that he can have over the front office where he can say, look, I am turning it around. Look, it has been a series of missteps. This is my guy, though. Look at what I've been able to do with my guy. I was able to get my guy running the show. We traded up in the first round to get him. If there is some glimmer of hope, then there is the possibility that Brian Daboll gets a 1 year longer extension on his termination. However, although I do see a lot of good and possibilities for Jaxson Dart, I think you're looking at the Giants having a win cap of 3 games at this point. You're a sixth of the way through the season. The coach is on the hot seat. Your defense is trash. There's not a lot of weapons on offense outside of Malik Neighbors, and now you're turning to your first-round quarterback, who you ideally would have liked to have sat at least until the bye week. You know, maybe you're heading into the bye week 500, maybe a game behind 500, then you turn the reins over, hand the reins over, and say, all right, kid, now's the time. You're kind of thrusting him into the spotlight. Will Jaxson Dart ascend? And when the lights are on, the lights are the brightest, will he elevate his play or will he crumple? That has yet to be seen. I'm rooting for Jaxson Dart, though, myself. How we doing down in the chat? Still can't believe the toilet seats got it up for Dallas. Yeah, I know, dude. That was wild. Especially just the fact that they made Giga Williams look so good. Dallas looks like a one-player team, and that one player, I was gonna say is probably CeeDee Lamb, but I guess you mean Dak Prescott. And Dak has a pretty solid contract in Dallas, but to the Dallas faithful, 1, your team is gross. Okay. 2, your owner is disgusting. 3, hashtag free Dak. Okay. Let Dak go and get a ring somewhere. It's time for Dak to move on to greener pastures. I think it's time for Dak to go and win a Super Bowl next year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Wouldn't that be a little twist of irony? Dart will get creamed behind that O-line, Brent. I completely agree with you. Same with McCarthy. I agree with you as well. That's the thing is those guys have really bad offensive lines. They have weapons to throw to, but where we see Brad Holmes build from the trenches out, some teams want to go with their flashy and expensive shiny car with no protection, but you'd like to have a garage to park that shiny car in. Hey, quick, what up, fam? How you doing, bro? Good to see you. Welcome to the chat, my guy. Treadline and rolls around. Someone needs a QB. Dak could be trade bait. That's, Jack, my thought process is like the Cowgirls are clearly blowing up the year. They're clearly just cashing out, right? The Micah Parsons trade, they're in a rebuild. If you can get another first or multiple first or a first and multiple day 2 picks for Dak, at a certain point, if you're going to rebuild, why not just go all in? We're all in on this rebuild. All in on these young guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, might as well. Might as well just do it. You can't win with a bad O-line. Ain't that the truth, Mom? Ain't that the truth? If you can't control the trenches, inside or out, offense or defense, you're absolutely screwed. Just real quick, guys, we do want to just go ahead and point this out. A little splash in the pond of Schadenfreude. Just shout out real quick. We're not going to read the article. NFL.com, breaking news yesterday. Texans cut veteran DB C.J. Gardner-Johnson in surprise release after 3 games. Houston Texans released starting safety. The team later announced Gardner-Johnson's departure. Houston acquired Gardner-Johnson in a trade with the Eagles in exchange for guard Kenyon Green and a late 26th-round pick. The move comes as a surprise after he started the first 3 games for the Texans. He compiled 15 tackles, allowed 6 catches on 8 targets. Heralded for his physical play, Gardner-Johnson boisterous nature has led him to become a nomad. After 3 seasons in the Northlands, he spent one with Philly, one with Detroit, and then went back to the Eagles for their Super Bowl run. The trash talker didn't make it out of September before Houston moved on. It's unclear what the impetus is behind the early season release, and I think that's hilarious. Because personally, I think C.J. is a douchebag. You're a douchebag. You're a douchebag. You're a douchebag. As the old douchebag is. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a bit of a douchebag, a bit of a douche nozzle, a bit of a asshole, and somebody that I don't like to succeed in the NFL. He has millions and millions of dollars, and good for you. Now go away. Now go away with your money and go away. I don't want to see you anymore. Your nonsense and bullshit needs to go away, C.J. Go away. Go away, C.J. C.J. Go away. Go away. Go away, C.J. So I just wanted to point that out. C.J. got cut. That piece of shit. You piece of shit. Why does... Chase, that sucks, dude. Why does everyone in my last name suck? It's not that everyone in your last name sucks. It's that you got a very common last name, brother. An incredibly common last name. Oh, you don't suck, Chase. Oh, come on, man. You don't suck, bro. You're hashtag winning all the time, dude. You got a promotion at work, dude. Your kids are kicking ass. You raise some good kids. You got an awesome girlfriend, dude. Come on, man. You don't suck, bro. Don't be so hard on yourself, dude. Don't be so hard on yourself. Real quick, guys, we're going to motor on down here to CBSSports.com. Another poll that they got up, Power Rankings, top 10. Let's look at the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. Obviously, no surprise there. Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson, kind of gross, but sure, he can be number 2. Justin Herbert getting a little bit more recognition. Has given him a little bit of glazing action yesterday. I do think Justin Herbert is a underrated quarterback in the league. I know he doesn't quite get the praise, and he doesn't quite have the athleticism, but I have regularly said that Justin Herbert is the West Coast Josh Allen. And I don't mean West Coast offense. I mean he just plays on the West Coast. There is not much difference in their game, although the differences that they have are very different. Obviously, again, the athleticism. But if it came down to it, and you had to pick between the two quarterbacks, yeah, Josh Allen's the shinier pick, but would you really be upset if Justin Herbert was your quarterback you had to build your team around? I mean, would it really be that bad? I'm just saying. He's Josh Allen of the West. You know what I'm saying? Jalen Hurts at number 4, rounding out your top 5. Finally getting some acknowledgement, you guys. I've been beating this war drum for going on 3 years now. Jared Goff. Away from Detroit, home. No issue whatsoever for Goff, who had near perfect precision in a win over the Ravens. This man may throw the NFL's prettiest passes when afforded time. That's what I just saying that yesterday. Talking about Jared Goff now just throws it like the ball has swag when it comes out. Like the ball is all rizzed up after Jared Goff. Like the ball's like, yeah, bitch. You know what I'm saying? It's got that you know. Like it like flies past defenders like, you ain't gonna get me, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Right into the hands of the receiver. Like, I'm going to my home, bitch. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to my home. I want to go to Amon-Ra. I want to go into the end zone. I want to go to my home. Fuck the DBs, dude. Look how pretty my pass is. And with Jared Goff, there is a certain sequence that happens, especially on play action passes. When Jared Goff rolls, or doesn't roll but drops back, and he's able to get that good bounce off his heels and then just launches that fucker 60 yards downfield to J-Mo. It's one of the more beautiful things in this life to see. It is... I feel that the term poetry in motion doesn't quite do it credit. It is an absolutely beautiful sight to behold. When Jared Goff has time, he can spring off his heels, really rock it. Oh, it's beautiful. And that ball, like I say, he throws the ball with swag, dude. The ball's all rizzed up after Jared Goff throws it out. Sure, he looks like a stone statue, the second coming of Drew Bledsoe when he's out there, lumbering and bumbling down the field. But he's got the zip on it. And I don't know, is that a Mark Brunell thing? I know we kind of poo-poo on Mark Brunell for his lack of development of young quarterbacks, but the toolage that he's invested into Jared Goff seems to be paying itself over and over again, multiple times over. Number 6, Baker Mayfield. Number 7, Jordan Butt Love. Matthew Pad Stafford at number 8. Number 9, Patrick Mahomes. Ha ha. Number 10, Daniel Indiana Jones. And just outside your top 10 at number 11 and 12 would be Brock Purdy and Aaron Diddly-Doo Rodgers. Gross. I wasn't going to say anything until I seen a stupid little head pop up. Look at, he's looking like he's creeping on me. He's creeping on me down at the bottom there. Number 13, Giggle Williams. Well, Giga Williams will have a crash back down to reality after they realize that it was a flash in the pan against a inferior Dallas defense, where Matt Eberflus maybe was trying to go ahead and let his boy. Look what they're doing to my boy. I got to make my boy look good. All right, we're gonna head on over to some hometown cooking, guys. If you haven't already, please take a look up at the poll. 17 votes. Look at you guys go. We have 1 like equals USA. 100% of you say USA, baby. And 0% of you are commies. That's what we like around here. No commies. We ain't fans of commies over here at the Hat and Beard Show, and we are a bigger fan of titties over Twinkies. Let's go. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, ring that notification bell. Share this video around with everybody you possibly know. Go ahead and assault that like button. Hit it with the old two-piece in a biscuit. Right? All right, now that we're hanging out, guys, and you got that notification bell turned on, let's do a little hometown cooking. So what we're here to talk about is your Detroit Lions. Oh, yeah, brother. Lions OT earns near perfect PFF grade against the Ravens. Penei Sewell had an extraordinary performance against the Ravens. Oh, yeah. Penei Sewell, future Hall of Famer. Oh, yeah. Penei Sewell. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Leading that effort was right tackle for a 2-time first-team All-Pro who played an exceptionally high level against Baltimore. For his effort, he earned a nearly perfect Pro Football Focus offensive grade. Holy shit. Of 98.7. Wow! That is, holy crappers, that is a hell of a grade. Close behind Sewell was rookie offensive guard Tater Ratledge, who earned a 91.5 offensive grade for his performance in his 3rd career game. That is absolutely awesome. Let's take a look at the performers, guys. Highest offensive graded players. Penei Sewell, 98. Tater Ratledge with a 91. Demo David, the Motor Montgomery, old Knuckles himself with an 89. Amon-Ra with an 86. And Taylor Decker with an 82. Lowest graded offensive players. Obviously, the perennial low grader throwing the curve for everybody. Our special ed dunce cap having friend, Graham Glasgow with a 63. J-Mo with a 63. Now, that is a little skewed right there. I did see the breakdown of the snap count, and Jameson Williams actually played more snaps than any other wide receiver. He was on the field 63% of the time, played 63% of the offensive snaps. Now, was he targeted often? Nope. We seen him with, 2 catches for 43 yards. Why was Jameson Williams on the field so much if we weren't throwing to him? Why? Oh, because we had 280 rushing yards. And Jameson Williams is continuously the cog that is key in the development and rolling of the offensive rushing wheel, as we see time after time after time. Big plays. Who is the guy? Who is the guy who is blocking down the field? Do-do-do-do-do-do. J-Mo. It's J-Mo, dude. It's always J-Mo. So, of course, he's going to be on the field. If we're going to be running the ball out, why not have your best run-blocking offensive weapon downfield, or your best run-blocking wide receiver? Why not just pile it up and let him go down there and be a road grader? Sure, he's not going to get the target, so his grade's not going to be so good. But that is very misrepresentative of the importance of Jameson Williams in the offense, specifically Monday night against the Baltimore Ravens. Brock Wright with a 61, nobody cares. 54 for Khalif Raymond, nobody cares. And 46 for Isaac Tisla. More snaps, same number of, double the amount of targets he's gotten throughout the first 2 weeks. He doubled up his number of targets. He had 2 targets and was ineffective with those 2 targets. Highest graded defensive players. There's our guy, the Michigan Mayhem man, Aiden Hutchinson with a 91, DJ Reed with an 83, Action Jack Sack Campbell with an 80, Al Kadeem Muhammad with a 74, Kirby Joseph with a 63, lowest graded defensive players. Roy Lopez with a 49, Brian Branch with a 47. Towards the end of the game, he was getting taken advantage of and a little irritated by it. You could tell starting to get to him. No surprise there. 45, Terrion Arnold, 38 with Amik Robertson. And Pat O'Connor, I think Pat O'Connor needs to go. He was abused, bent over, kept biting down, wouldn't stay in his lane, wouldn't control the offensive line of scrimmage, and was taken advantage of by a Baltimore Ravens offense that was identifying when he was on the field. That's why I think you've seen his snap count diminish in lieu of Al-Qadim Muhammad's uptick, as well as the guy that we're a big fan of right now, at least through the exposure that we've seen against the Baltimore Ravens, Tyler Lacey. I'm crowning him the defensive end of the future for the Detroit Lions opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I think you're going to see a lot of good things out of Tyler Lacey this year, barring any injuries. So there you see that low grade on Terrion Arnold. Why are we focusing on Terrion Arnold? Well, he's been a topic of discussion for quite a while. Harbaugh has Herbert balling so far this season. You're damn right he does, Brent. Just don't throw balloon balls to Malik. Yeah, 100%, dude. Kerry Simtich said, I said by week 6, check the injury on all the teams and then check Detroit. Yeah, dude, if we're healthy, which so far, knock on wood, so far we're maintaining health, which is paramount to our success this year. We were able to win 15 games last year with 197 players on IR. Imagine what we can do with a fully healthy, fully loaded roster. Brandy Coffee. I have a mini helmet signed by PS. PS. I don't know who that is. PS. Oh, Penny Sewell. Derp. Derp. I'm dumb. That's freaking awesome, Brandy. So I'm a little bit unique in my favorite player selection. So obviously, if you can't tell by my build, I was not a wide receiver. I was not a running back. I was not a quarterback. I definitely wasn't a kicker. And if you want to watch me punt, it's hilarious to watch the ball go straight up in the air. I'm one of the only guys who can punt the ball straight up and catch it myself. Oh, well, I can't catch it. I just punt it straight up in the air and then attempt to catch it. So, when I was playing ball my senior year, boys, I topped out at 317 pounds my senior year. I was a big lad. So you can guess where my happy honky ass was at. That's right. Your boy was down in the trenches. So I have a bit of an affiliation for offensive and defensive line players. You know, the real men on the field, where men are made, right? Where the real work is done. Okay, yeah, all your skilled guys can get all your glory and your glamour and all the highlights, but the real work, okay, the real work is done down in the trenches. Let's be real. So I 9 times out of 10 lean towards a preference of offensive and defensive linemen. And most people would probably say that Aiden Hutchinson is my favorite Detroit Lion, simply because of the story, being that he is fulfilling every young Michigan kid's dream. Not Michigan University of Michigan, but I mean young boy growing up in Michigan who hits the metric of playing football their whole life, is a huge Detroit Lions fan. A small part of every little boy has this dream of going to one of the local colleges, be it Michigan, Michigan State, Western Central, but obviously the two easiest paths would be Michigan State or Michigan, right? And playing for those schools and then being drafted by the Lions, and being that guy to fix the franchise. I've often thought of doing a video, just a self-contained video, and I want to do it around the draft time, but it's all about the importance of the draft, because Michigan or Detroit has actually had 2 of these players who could fit that mold. Aiden Hutchinson obviously succeeding, but the first that came before him was Charles Rogers. Charles Rogers met every single one of those metrics, but Charles Rogers was unable to do what Aiden Hutchinson done. So a lot of people would say that Aiden Hutchinson is probably my favorite Detroit Lion, when in all reality, my favorite Detroit Lion is the guy that was taken with the first pick by Brad Holmes in his tenure, the cornerstone of our offense, the future Hall of Famer himself, and that is our guy, Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell is my favorite Detroit Lion. I fucking love Penei Sewell. He is the best offensive lineman in football. I follow him on Instagram. He just seems like a really cool guy, dude. He just seems like a fun-loving dude, and somebody that I would, if I were to ever play ball, I would love to have played, I did play ball, but if I were to ever have the ability to play ball with a guy, Penei Sewell would be a guy that, I would love to line up on the offensive line with. You just know you're going to be a dominant wrecking force. Look at Tater Ratledge. You know what I'm saying? So I love Penei Sewell. He's my favorite Detroit Lion, dude. You know what I'm saying? They did do a great job on both sides of the ball. Damn straight they did. Yeah, it was a dirt moment on that PS thing. I was like, PS, I'm just stupid. So, all right, we're going to focus on Terrion Arnold here. Terrion Arnold, the 45.1 grade. Now, I will shout out he did do a little bit better in the second half, but I need 4 quarters of football out of Terrion Arnold. I can't have half the game be half the early half of your rookie year, Terrion Arnold, and the back half of the game being flashes of what you've shown in your sophomore campaign in camp. What I need is Terrion Arnold to be absolutely elite at 4 quarters of football. We took you in the first round, and you came out of Alabama. You're supposed to be really, really good, right? Yeah, the dirtbag is the real deal, dude. Love Tater Ratledge. Love Tater Ratledge. But over here, Pride of Detroit, Dan Campbell hints at changes in cornerback usage amidst TA struggles. If there was one downside to Detroit's 38-30 victory over the Baltimore Ravens, it was the ongoing struggles of second-year cornerback TA. The defender gave up a couple of big plays early in the game and was called for a critical pass interference that led to a Ravens touchdown. Through 3 weeks, Arnold has a PFF grade, the 77th ranked coverage grade of 44 out of 83 qualifying cornerbacks, a minimum of 100 snaps. 97.1 the ticket. He's a young player, and he's working at it, and he's going to get better. Campbell said he's going to get better. It's just going to take a little bit of time here. We're going to work through a few of these things. But look, every young player, they have these ebbs and flows of their career or of a second year, things of that nature. He's going to be all right, man. We're just trying to keep working through it. And look, we'll probably use Meek Robertson on some stuff too. Meek's a good player. We're going to mix it up a little bit. The message seems pretty clear here. Meek Robertson, the team's starting nickel corner and 6-year veteran, is going to get some playing time on the outside, presumably in favor of Arnold. What that percentage looks like, we'll have to wait and see. Is it a full benching, a part-time benching, just a certain sub-package look? That's to be determined. It's worth pointing out that the Lions play their base defense quite a bit, which often leaves Robertson off the field. Through 3 games, the veteran cornerback has played just 51% of the team's defensive snaps. So if they believe in Robertson's talent, which we know, we have enough sample sizes through 6 years to know where he's at, it would also make sense to get him on the field more, be it at nickel or on the outside. Last year, Robertson filled in late in the season at outside cornerback and looked the part. Most notably in the team's regular season finale against the Vikings, he was crucial in holding Justin Jefferson just three catches for 54 yards. He is the kryptonite to Justin Jefferson. As for Arnold's struggles, Campbell continued to reiterate that their defensive scheme asks a lot of their outside cornerbacks, and that he'll get better with time. Quote, "What we ask these corners to do is not easy, but it's also why you're here. It's why we acquire you. Whether it's the draft or it's free agency, it's because we're going to put you on an island, and it's not going to be easy. But that's the task you are given. Go out there and do your job." I think that do I want to say a shortened leash on Terrion? What would be more detrimental to Terrion Arnold? Having a short leash so short leash meaning full reps, full workload anticipation, and then as soon as you fuck up, you're out? Or do we just reduce the role and increase the snap count of Meek Robertson, limit your exposure while building confidence? If we're looking at it historically, the Dan Campbell approach, the Brad Holmes approach, has been the latter. Clearly, there are some issues with Terrion Arnold. He's being taken advantage of. Those need to be cleaned up, and we need to address it before we break Terrion Arnold. Okay, he's a very viable asset and has a tremendous ceiling still yet in his career, though failing epically to clear the floor. Some days he is rolling around on the floor, not even coming close. Some days he's laying face down on the floor, not even looking up at the ceiling. Other days he is jumping off the floor, trying to get the ceiling, but only with like a 6-inch vertical. I need Terrion Arnold's floor to be that 6-inch vertical and his ceiling to be rubbing his face on the ceiling. So if that means we need to reduce the role and expand Meek Robertson's role for the time being, until the confidence, until the talent, until the expectation meets the reality, it's probably the safer option. DJ Reed doesn't necessarily look to be that great of an acquisition yet. Our secondary is shaky. Brian Branch has been up and down. Kirby Joseph has been in and out of the glory. A couple picks here or there, but was absolutely silent Monday night against the Ravens. I kept waiting for Kirby Joseph to make a Kirby Joseph patented interception, and it never quite happened, never came to fruition. But that being said, we do ask a lot of our corners. Obviously, there's been more confidence in Amik Robertson over the past year and a half. The level of play is probably at this point better than Terrion Arnold, though I don't think a complete abandonment and bust tag needs to be hung on Terrion Arnold. I mean, we are 1 year and a sixth of the way into his career. But between now and the bye week, I need Terrion Arnold to at least start to right the ship so that we can correct with precision instruments during the bye week so that we can do the same thing we did last year, Terrion Arnold. Come out of the bye week playing much better than you did early on in the season. I still have high hopes for Terrion Arnold, so a complete abandonment of him doesn't necessarily fit what I would like to see done. All right, guys, we're going to head on over for our last story. We're running a little bit late. I said we weren't going to, but I lied. Lions coach Dan Campbell is finally getting the credit he deserves, and NFL analysts are finally giving Dan credit. This offseason, the Detroit Lions narrative spun out of control. Of course, that doesn't make any different than any other offseason. This is the time to make baseless claims, bold over predictions, and scream at the people who disagree with you. I just kind of crushed my one nut a little bit along the seams of my britches, and it doesn't feel so good. It's like a little nut tap, dude. It's the soft ones that always hurt. The full-on punches don't hurt so much. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, we're good. Sorry about that. It's impossible to be wrong when no games are being played, and if you prove to be wrong, just cross your fingers that no one is holding onto month-old receipts. I do. Where you at, broski? Where's broski been? Well, it looks like plenty of NFL analysts are pulling their own receipts when it comes to the Detroit Lions. This offseason, many questioned whether the Lions could survive their brain drain. Losing both their offensive and defensive coordinators in one offseason was a hurdle to climb, no doubt. But some acted like it was a mountain. Some acted like the departure of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn meant the Lions' 2 to 3 year window for the Super Bowl contention was over in a flash. I don't think Aaron Glenn was really that great of a defensive coordinator. And it's clearly proven through 3 weeks that Dan Campbell had a lot more influence in the offensive plan than just Ben Johnson. Not only was the opinion disrespectful to their successors, Johnny Moe and Calvin Shepard, who were assumed losers before they even got a shot, but it was an example of extreme ignorance when it comes to the influence of head coach Dan Campbell. Let's read that again. It was an example of extreme ignorance, sheer fucking hubris when it comes to the influence of head coach Dan Campbell. I will beat on this war drum. Continue to sleep on Dan Campbell. Continue to think he is some meat-headed, rah-rah, motivational coach. Continue to sleep and disrespect him while we continue to pile up wins. Campbell isn't just the emotional leader and heartbeat of the team, although he is both of those things too. He's also pretty damn smart, football mind himself, an expert delegator. And if you haven't noticed by now, he's also got a damn good eye for talent, both in the player and coaching ranks. Every bit of Campbell was on display during the Lions' Monday Night Football win over the Baltimore Ravens. His analytics forward in-game aggression allowed his offense to put the game out of reach late. The NFL cameras caught him several times on the sidelines, intimately involved in the play-calling process. And then, of course, his two choices for coordinators, John Morton and Shepard, had their best collective games. Morton pulled all of the right strings in critical moments, while Shepard's orchestrated a defense that did the unthinkable. Bottled up 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson and 5-time Pro Bowler Derrick Henry, and let's not forget, piling up 7 sacks. 7. I I damn near had to take my fucking shoes off to count how many sacks we had, guys. On Lamar. These aren't sacks on, give me a statue. You know what I'm saying? These aren't sacks on Tua. These aren't sacks on Ryan Fitzpatrick. These aren't sacks on Sam Darnold. You know what I'm saying? These are sacks on Lamar mobility. Early on in his career, they said he should have been a running back. Lamar Jackson, and held the Baltimore Ravens' two-headed monstrous Hall of Fame rushing attack to under 100 yards. Come on now. Come on now. Put a little respect on that shit. It seems that finally, it only took 5 years, people are starting to notice that the force behind Detroit's amazing turnaround wasn't just one innovative play caller or a charismatic defensive leader. It was the man at the top all along. It wasn't frickin' Dan Campbell, or it was frickin' Dan Campbell. And then we could skim through and read all the glazing. I actually love this meme right here. Dan Campbell doesn't get enough credit for the program in Detroit. That one's pretty good. I'll give him that one. That one's pretty good. Hell yeah, dude. It's good to see people finally giving Dan Campbell some respect, dude. We're not going to watch the videos on X because I don't feel like opening up X. It's a cesspool. Boom, dude. How we doing, chat? How we doing up in the poll? Don't forget there's a poll. 20 votes. 1 like equals USA. 20 people. That's what I love to see. 20 people have voted. 100% of you say USA, baby. That's right. No commies in this chat. No commies in Mad Hatter Nation. And in Mad Hatter Nation, we like titties over Twinkies. Let's frickin' go. We'll check the chat out one last time. How you guys doing? Detroit Super Bowl loading. Hell yeah. I still remember Penny just throwing dudes at Oregon. Yeah, he looked like an absolute monster in college and seems to be doing the exact same, manhandling fully grown professional athletes at the professional level. Big game for J-Mo at home. Cleveland Rushdie is top of the league. Yeah, all right, Sam. We'll hang on to that. And Sunday morning, remember to we'll poke around at some stats about the Cleveland Browns while we go ahead and build ourselves some parlays and some bets for the Sunday night game or Sunday afternoon game, the Detroit Lions and the Cleveland Brown Eyes. So we'll hang on to that. All right, keep that in mind. Love the big uglies. Hell yeah, I do too, Sam. Unfortunately, he became Charles Glass Rogers. Yeah, and then Charles Rogers' brain got scrambled, and it's unfortunate. Charles Rogers is dead. I'm pretty sure Charles Rogers is dead. Pretty sure I've seen that. Yep. He died 6 years ago. That's what I thought. Yep, Charles Rogers is dead. Wait a minute. Like the Charles Rogers? Oh, gotcha. He ran the Brooklyn half marathon. That was stupid. What's the cause of Charles Rogers' death? Liver failure. Oh, that sucks. Following his injuries he suffered during the early part of his career in Detroit, Rogers developed an addiction to the prescription medication containing the opioid Vicodin, which also contains acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. Does anybody else know the common name for acetaminophen? And what stuff is going on in the news about that? Interesting. I can tell you this. We are an ibuprofen household. A product sold over the counter as Tylenol, but is known to cause severe liver failure when taken in dosages exceeding high dosages. And also, apparently now linked to autism in children. Wild shit. But yeah, Charles Rogers. Yeah, Charles Rogers is dead. Charles Glass Rogers. I thought he died a few years back. That sucks. Scary Sparkle. I love that name, Scary Sparkle, Sparkle Spice, old Lamar, Sparkle Spice Jackson. Brandy, you got to remind me I love to assign nicknames to guys like Aaron Diddly-Doo Rogers. You know what I'm saying? So if you catch me not saying Scary Sparkle or Sparkle Spice with Lamar Jackson, you got to drop it in the chat and you got to let me know. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it. Hopefully you're feeling better, by the way, Brandy. I know yesterday you said you weren't feeling so fresh, weren't feeling so great. So I hope you're feeling better, sister. You know what I'm saying? Take some garlic, get a little sleep. Like Rags, you don't hear B player name and they're on the field the whole time, you know they're doing a great job. That's Dirtbag Christian Mahogany. Yeah, dude, Mahogany having an expanded role where he's having to notify Glass Cow. You know what I'm saying? And Mahogany played really well. Our guards play. Now, to be fair, Troy Aikman was giving our young offensive line, or our two young offensive line players, a lot of praise. He was openly admitting it because Troy Aikman watches from a different viewpoint than most of your analysts. I love former high-level players. They really look down at the minute details. You know what I'm saying? They're deflecting from the real cause, autism, with the Tylenol thing. The real cause. Well, yeah, you could be right. You could be right, Jack. I think there's a lot of stuff that causes autism. You maybe took Tylenol once. Fair. Well, I hope you're feeling better, Brandy. That's all. Just feel better, drink some water, get some rest. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up with some Tom Grossi, every NFL fan's reaction to Week 3. We're running a little bit long in the tooth, but we're not going to do no hour-and-a-half long show today.
All right, football Sunday. Let's... Oh, can you get that for me? Don't worry, I got it for you. Don't worry, I got it. Football... Oh, no worries, I got it for you. Are you guys good? Okay, got it now. Football son of a... You see how good we can be when even a few of our starters play? It's pretty nice. Also, Aaron Rodgers, meet Isaiah Rodgers. Hold on to the
gotcha,
football.
Brandy, for sure.
I don't know what just happened, but I'll take it. It's one thing to do it against the Bears, but to beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football? Yeah, I'm thinking we're back. I don't want to play in primetime anymore. The Bills are 3-0, and either the Ravens or the Chiefs are going to be 1-3 after next week. It's a great season. To go from last night's game between the Lions and the Ravens to next week, Jets versus us, I'm so sorry, America. On the third week, the Bears rose again. Caleb Williams looked phenomenal.
That sucks, bro.
I'd say thank you,
hurts,
Eberflus,
dude.
but
It
I
hurts.
think lying is a sin.
As you can tell by my
CeeDee Lamb is
reaction.
hurt, and we lost to the Bears. But the good news is that Micah Parsons is coming back to kick our ass.
I knew you
so-
did, Brandy. I knew you'd watch this already.
Why am I a Cowboys fan again? Watching Texans football
you'd
this
watch
year
this
makes
already.
me doubt the existence of God. Our defense is actually good? Sorry, I'm just not used to this.
This is gonna never not be funny.
Well, at least Callahan's giving up play calling. That's good. Do you think he could go in there and block? I'm just gonna say I've much preferred the last 2 weeks over week 1. Remember when everyone predicted us to be the worst team in football? Well, joke's on you. The Falcons still existed this week. What the hell did I just watch? We lost to the Panthers. We got shut out by the Panthers. And hell, even Kirk Cousins came into the
Wildflower's
game.
one of my favorite characters, too.
That being said, does anybody want to trade for him still? He's still available. I forgot how nice it feels to win a football game. Thank you, Jordan Davis. Holy crap, we won that game. Never a doubt. Never a doubt. Except for the first 3 quarters. If I had a nickel for each time we lost a heartbreaking game to the Eagles in 2025, I'd have 2 nickels. Can't buy a win with that, apparently. I love this football team. I mean, holy cow, we won again. If we could stop getting injured, though, that'd be great. Oh, you want to talk about injuries? Huh? Do you? That's how you do it, Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know what's crazier this week. All these blocked field goals or the fact that we still didn't win the game after blocking one.
No shit.
We beat the Packers. The Ravens lost again on prime time. Our defense is so good. Legit, this might be the happiest I'm going to be all season, so I'm just going to enjoy it. So we're not going undefeated. Well, we finally won our first game, so that's good. We also may have retired Russell Wilson, so you're welcome, Giants fans. We're starting Jaxson Dart. The Russell Wilson experiment is over. We did it, guys. And he's playing the Chargers.
Great.
I'm so sorry, Jackson.
Better hope that
I don't know what's
coast-to-coast
worse,
narrative
all
plays
the
out
Bover
for the
throws or the fact that this is now the second week in a row that we've lost to a game-winning field goal. Either way, I'm depressed. 3-0, and all 3 wins are against divisional opponents?
Yeah, dude, the Chargers. Man.
Oh, no. I'm starting
F
to
the Bears.
have hope
Hell yeah,
again.
Mr. Detroit City.
I
F the
remember
Bears,
having
F the
hope
Pack, F the Queens.
Back in
Let's go.
August. Did I do too much of my stash, or was that Marcus
Isn't it, Brady?
Mariota out
It's
there
cute they
instead of
thought they were
Jaden
going to go
Daniels?
undefeated.
You know what? I don't even want this anymore.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right,
Whoops.
I got it.
Whoops. All right. Bam. All right, guys, top to bottom, Google to reinstate banned YouTube accounts censored for political speech. That's awesome. And we're going to hopefully see some little bit of growth as they unshackle and free your boy from the constraints of what he said during the COVID-19 pandemic. The pandemic! It's a pandemic! Oh, my God. We're all going to die. If you don't wear a mask, you're going to kill Grandma. You want to know what's really crazy? You want to know something really fucking interesting? This is going to throw you for a loop. Statistically, do you know what group of human beings was the least affected by COVID? What group? And I don't mean black, white. What group of people? Meaning a very specific, what group of people do I mean? I want you to think of people who use things on a daily basis. There are people in this world who use it's technically classified as a nutrient, not a chemical. It just happens to be surrounded by millions of chemicals in the delivery system. Globally, you can look this up. Globally, the population that uses nicotine daily, cigarettes, pipes, cigars, Zins, vape, patches, the population of the globe who uses nicotine daily was only affected by 1.1% of the population. Because nicotine binds itself to the receptors that the coronavirus attaches itself to and blocks it from being able to attach itself to the system. Interesting. So YouTube to reinstate banned accounts censored for political speech during the pandemic. You're going to kill Grandma! Oh, my God! You're going to kill Grandma! There's going to be dead bodies everywhere! Fucking wackaloons, dude. Then we talked about Bengals star running back Rudi Johnson, so we're hoping to see a little bit of growth from being unshackled by YouTube. Rudi Johnson passed away, sad to see, unfortunately. Jaxson Dart named the starter for the Giants' Week 4 matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. Truth be told, the only thing I think the Giants have going for them is if you buy into the West Coast, East Coast traveling narrative. I tend to not put too much weight into that because it has never worked out for me when I put dollary dues on the line. We bathed in the bay of Schadenfreude as Texans cut DB C.J. G.J. in surprise release. That's right, the douchebag that is, the assholery that is, the faggotry that is C.J. G.J. no longer on the Houston Texans, getting released because he's a piece of shit. We then looked at the power rankings for quarterbacks according to CBSSports.com, and our guy, Jared Goff, coming in at number 5. We love to see it. Then we looked at the highest and lowest graded offensive and defensive players for the Detroit Lions according to Pro Football Focus in their Week 3 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens. Monday Night Football on prime time in Baltimore when the lights were brightest. Jared Goff was outside, away from Ford Field, and yet delivered with an exceptional game. But the highest graded player was our guy, my favorite Detroit Lion, the future Hall of Famer. Give him his gold jacket now. Penei Sewell coming in hot and heavy. I believe he had a 98.7 PFF grade. You'll love to see it. Dan Campbell then kind of hinting at 97.1 the ticket that there might be a little bit of shakeup in the usage and snap count of Terrion Arnold as his sophomore struggles continue early on. Not the trajectory we want to see. Hopefully he can right the ship, but also thankful that Motor City Dan Campbell has an eye for talent, and Brad Holmes is willing to go out and get guys that can build depth so that we have the luxury of not overexposing the rookie and breaking his brain. See Jeff Okudah and could diminish his role a little bit without insulting or breaking the psyche of the player while still having plenty of reliable talent on the back end of the depth chart. See Amik Robertson, see Rock Ya-Sin. And then finally, Lions coach Dan Campbell finally getting credit he deserves. There was all that speculation about how Osama Ben Johnson, bend over Benedict Arnold Osama Ben Johnson, who has a small peepee and is a trader in the Windy City. He was going to be the mastermind, and our offense wasn't going to be. If you listen to the national media, you'd have thought that the Detroit Lions were going to come out this year, line up in a fucking wing tee, and not understand how to throw the ball vertically. You'd have thought that we were going to come out with leather helmets sucking on our fucking toes with barefooted kickers. You'd have thought that we were going to regress back to before the fucking Stone Age. Because there's a lack of respect around Dan Campbell because he's a big dude, because he's a rah-rah guy. He can't possibly have a brain up inside that meathead, right? Well, you go ahead. You keep on sleeping. You keep on disrespecting Dan Campbell. We keep stacking bodies and stacking wins, baby. But finally, I'm starting to get a little bit of credit where credit is due. But I don't really care at this point. You've discredited or disrespected the Detroit Lions under Dan Campbell for long enough that I don't really care. I know the reality of the situation. That's Dan Campbell's the man who deserves to be named Coach of the Year last year. But that's neither here nor there. So, guys, that's going to do it for the show. One last look at the poll. 1 like equals USA. 21%. 21 of you said 100% USA, baby. I'm no commie. Shout out Tucker Carl. Titans or Chicago get first pick next year. I was thinking Dallas might get the first pick next year, guys. Shout out Tucker Carlson. Hell yeah, Mr. Detroit City. That might have been the best Tucker Carlson laugh I've been able to do. I don't know if I can replicate that one ever again. Holy shit. All you have to do is ask Broski about ruling the trenches and he leaves. Hell yeah. All right, guys. That's going to be it for today. I appreciate each and every one of you hanging out and engaging in the chat. I love talking to you guys. You're one of the best parts of my day. It's hanging out with you guys early in the morning. It sets me up for success all day long. So we got to get ready to rolling into work. It's going to be weird coming back after 5 days off. So shout out you guys. One Pride worldwide. Let's go, fellas. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until next time, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., 11 Central. I don't know or care what it is out of the West Coast. Here at youtube.com/Hat and Beard Show. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. We'll see you then. Bonga, bonga. Frig off.